like, and subscribe. I mean, if not for me, do it for this. Is that not beautiful? I'm talking, that is amazing. Gotta love this country life down here in Alabama. Please like and subscribe. Have a good day. So Chael's one of my favorite YouTubers. I watch him all the time. And every time I'm watching his videos, I find myself, Chael's never wrong, right? He's undefeated. He's never wrong, never lost a round. But sometimes he doesn't explain himself quite as good as you would like to. And sometimes he may have a fact or two that's not 100% accurate, you know? Not wrong, but not really right either. And I find myself reacting to it. So I figured I'd record myself reacting to it and upload it, see if anybody else agrees with me about the things that I say, the way I see MMA or anything like that.
Well, Nate versus Chimaev, guys, what do you think? I mean, let me just throw it right back to you. I am very curious on what you think on that. Of all the fights that I was hearing for Nate, this one's the one I heard about the most time ago. I mean, we're talking November of last year. I can't even remember who came first versus Chimaev. It came up at a press conference, but it was either Nate or Nick, and I think it was Nick. How long ago was that Nick fought Robbie Lawler, which means the conversation for it was, you know, it's been a long time. And I will tell you, as we ponder this, as we kick this around, this was the least for me. Now, make no mistake, I want to see Nate fight. Make no mistake, I want to see Chimaev fight. These are stars. This is a great, I'm just sharing with you Nate versus Conor Part 3, the trilogy that we all believed wholeheartedly we would get. And that even includes the organization. Thought, hey, look, we can offer that at any point, no matter where those guys are at in their career. Everyone's going to want to come get a huge payday to be a main event in a massive fight. That's what this is. We're safe. We're protected. And I think we all thought that too. I did. I'll be disappointed when we don't get it. And then you talk about Nate. There was some talk of Tony Ferguson. I really liked that. I thought that Kevin Holland.
Okay, so the Conor-Nate trilogy, yeah, I mean, I would watch it, of course. I mean, it's Nate and Conor. But I feel like there's so many, like, better opponents for Conor. I feel like Conor left Nate, in a way. I mean, he did, if we're being serious. I'm a Nate fan. But I feel like Conor kind of left Nate. Not saying Conor's that much better in fighting, because obviously they had it 1-1, but like popularity and superstardom, Nate's hugely popular because of Conor. I feel, at least. I mean, I know people liked him before, but he had his big pop after the Conor fight.
The idea solved all the problems.
I could take it or leave it.
I really did. When Kevin Holland called out Nate, I sat back and go, yeah, that's the fight, right there. And then Nate went quiet real quick, and so did Kevin, which is generally
for a Kevin Holland Nate Diaz fight. I feel like that would be a good fight.
For us. And I brought to you guys last week, hey, look, Nate's got a fight. Nate's in training camp. Nate backed me up on that the next day on Twitter. Sent out a picture of himself in the ring sparring. Went on Ariel's show, and then he kind of muddied the waters.
That's Nate.
Right, if Nate knew about this fight with Chimaev, the entire appearance on Ariel's show makes you scratch your head a little bit and go, okay, what were we doing there? Because Nate revealed to us, hey, they want me to fight Conor, but they want me to wait. I don't want to wait. They've offered me Chimaev multiple times. That's the only one I'm not interested in. What's Poirier doing? I mean, Nate, he seemed to pack.
That's true and not true. Nate did turn Chimaev down when Chimaev was ranked like number 11, when he said he hadn't fought any top guys. But ever since Chimaev won over Burns, Nate has said he'll take the fight now, which is kind of looked at like, oh yeah, because he's ranked higher now. But he said he would take the fight. I don't think Nate is scared to fight Chimaev. I don't see that at all.
Everything up very clearly, but I did think that there was a couple of messages that we could take away, and apparently I took the wrong ones. First off, he's not interested in Conor. Second, he's not going to fight Chimaev, which is news that we already had. And as it pertains to Chimaev, what happens from here? Like, I know on one hand you're going to say this is a number one contenders fight. If Chimaev beats Nate, he's all shined up. He goes right in there with Usman. I'm well aware.
Okay, so that's something that I really can't understand because, I mean, that's what happened for Leon Edwards, right? Like, he couldn't get a title fight. He beat Nate. Nate almost got him in the 5th. That's what everybody likes to bring up, but that really doesn't matter whatsoever. He beat Nate. He gets the title shot. Chimaev coming up, if they beat Nate, do they get a title shot? Nate's never been a champ. Why is Nate a gatekeeper for the title if he's never been the champ? It's because people respect Nate, because Nate is a dog in that cage. He will not just let somebody go through without really testing them first. So Chimaev is going to have to pass that test. I don't know why people are, I feel sorry for Nate. I feel sorry for Chimaev. He's the one getting tested.
That those things could happen. But you're going to have to make that argument, okay, at a time when the Blahal Mohammeds and the Gilbert Burnses of the world are booked. At a time when the Colby Covingtons and the Leon Edwards of the world are booked.
Kobe.
I mean, don't forget that. You have no other welterweight fight right now. Soon you're going to hear about Wonder Boy versus fill in the blank. And you're going to have 2 or 3 really big name, really high-ranked welterweight fights that are also scheduled to go on. It's going to be hard to look at this one and go, that's our number one contenders fight. It's just going to be hard. Okay, let's say I've proven my point. It's not a number one contenders fight. Think about that from Chimaev's standpoint.
Like, obviously, if Nate beats Chimaev, Nate's not going to get a title shot where he's just lost, like, what, the last 3 or 4? I don't even know at this point. So he's not going to get a title shot if he beats Chimaev. And I know that it's not a super high probability that he beats Chimaev because of Chimaev's style, but Nate's style is to last until the end. And Chimaev did show he got a little tired with Burns. So maybe, but anyway.
Chimaev going back as far as a year, and it could be 2, right? The pandemic really threw me off. I used to have a good sense for half a year ago and year and a half ago. I used to have a real good sense for this, but I've been thrown off. But at some point, Chimaev was supposed to fight Leon in a number one contenders match. Don't forget that. That was a period of time ago. That fight was signed. It was booked. Chimaev versus... So a year
really
or more.
That they were signed to fight not that long ago, really. But it was not a number one contenders match. I mean, maybe it was for Leon, but it wasn't for Chimaev whatsoever. Like, at all. He wasn't anywhere close yet. I want to say he retired.
Ago, Chimaev was announced and signed for a fight that if he wins, he fights for championship. That did not happen. He then goes there and has this wonderful business with Burns. But that wasn't meant to be a number one contendership. That was meant to draw him in to a number one contenders fight opposite Colby Covington. So I'm just speaking from Chimaev's standpoint. Things have changed. Chimaev will do what he's asked to do. Chimaev wants to fight. That's the gimmick. That's the marketing. He's going to stick with it. I understand it, but let's be fair to him. He is a human being that's working very hard and has a goal. And a period of time ago, he was 1 win away on 2 separate times. The make-believe fight with he and Colby being one of them, him versus Leon, which was signed and booked. Each of those fights, he was 1 win away from being in a championship match. I don't know that this is going to be championship match when this fight's booked and you have the Blahals and the Gilberts and the Wonder Boys and the Covingtons of the world also. I think it's going to make it hard.
I don't think it's hard at all to say that Chimaev is going to be the number one contender when he beats Nate Diaz, continues his role after the win over Burns, if Kamaru beats Leon. Now, if Leon beats Kamaru, it wrecks everything, but I don't think that happens. I think Kamaru wins, and then yeah, Chimaev is next. Let's see if Kamaru can stop him.
Okay, fine. Fine. But where does he go from here? Right? Every fight is about that. Same will go for the winner, same will go for the loser. And I'm looking at this from Chimaev's standpoint because if Nate wins, we understand. Nate's been very upfront with us to tell us, I'm not coming back to the octagon. So it's just one of these spots where if I was to have made a prediction for you, what fight is it not going to be? I thought we've been pretty clear on this. I thought we've been pretty clear for a year. Not interested in Chimaev. Now, I'm not attempting to rain on this.
Yeah, I mean, like we said a year ago, he was going to not fight Chimaev because Chimaev wasn't ranked high enough, and he thought that he hadn't earned the respect enough to fight somebody like Nate Diaz, which he was probably right. But now Chimaev has run over some guys and had a war with Gilbert Burns. He's ranked number 2, I think. So now, yeah, Nate's willing to fight him. Nate was never scared to fight him. He thought he was below him. Now, I'm sure he doesn't looking forward to the fight, but he's not scared of him.
Time Nate's gonna fight, that's big news. I'm excited. I know that my body language isn't set right now.
Nate Diaz will fight in the UFC again. This is either, in my opinion, this is either Nate Diaz holding out for the most possible money he can get from the UFC. So he goes, he fights Chimaev, right? If he wins, then he can go box Jake Paul, whatever, for a huge payday. And then after that, let's say Nate Diaz wins this fight. He beats Chimaev, right? Then he goes, he boxes Jake Paul. Let's say he knocks Jake Paul out, or outpoints Jake Paul, wins against Jake Paul, and he's the first person to do so. How much more will his star have risen? What will people be saying if he beats Chimaev? What will people be saying if he then outboxes Jake? How much money could he get coming back to the UFC? And it's really not a huge disaster because say he loses to Chimaev, we kind of expect him maybe to lose to Chimaev a little bit because Chimaev is on such a roll and such a hype train. So if he loses to him, not that big of a deal. He's still going to go box Jake. He may beat Jake. If he loses to Jake, he's boxing. He's not doing MMA, so is it really that big of a deal? So then he comes back to the UFC or to Bellator or some other fighting, mixed martial arts promotion, signs a huge contract and makes a lot more money. It's a win-win.
I am okay with it, but I got to understand it. We're going to Madison Square Garden. Everybody in the UFC is either champions or contenders. As soon as you prove you can no longer be a champion and you can no longer be a contender, you're no longer in the UFC. There's other places to do this, but that's what this is about. So if we're going to book a main event at Madison Square Garden, generally, broad stroke, but it's going to be for something. And we can't call it a number 1 contenders match when one guy isn't coming. We know that going in.
I think you can.
So what are we doing? Do these two have a personal beef? Well, I got some bad news there. No, they don't. Chimaev's never really gone at Nate. He said he wanted fights. He's thrown his name with other names. He's never really picked on him. Nate's never really picked on Chimaev other than say, look, you look pretty good, but you don't have a good enough ranking. Call me when you do. Okay. That's what everybody else said, too.
Called him when he did, and now Nate's
I'm just trying to make sense of this. I'm picturing myself on fight week. You know, you got the weigh-in, you got the special media, we got the Mecca, we got all of these things. Why are we here? I'm going to have to answer that. That's part of my job. I've got to tell you why we're here. Why does this matter? The 5 W's. Who, what, when, why, and where? Why are we doing this? Why are these two fighting?
They're fighting because the UFC does not want to release a prospect who can go somewhere else and garner attention. So they want to try to destroy him as much as possible before he leaves. By destroy him, I don't mean physically, even though it is physically. I mean, they want to destroy his brand, like make him not as marketable if he's not going to be representing the UFC. That's kind of dirty in my opinion. You shouldn't really do that, but that's business, and that's what happens. That's why they're fighting. Nate wants the other fight so he can get out of his contract and go do whatever he wants to go do. Box Jake Paul, probably. And if he wins, the upside is great for him. He gets to go out with a bang, derail the hype train for the UFC, shoot them birds on the way out the door, and piss on the lawn again. And he's a free man. He doesn't have to any penalty to pay. He can go make as much money as he wants, sign with whoever he wants, do whatever he wants in the UFC. He's going to be hurting, offering him as much money as possible to keep him since he derailed the hype train. They're not going to want him to go somewhere else and let somebody else capitalize off the fact that he took out their guy. There's huge upside if Nate Diaz can pull out a miracle.
I don't accept anything, by the way. I don't need a good answer, a great answer, a salacious answer, a dirty answer. I don't need anything. I just need the answer. If this is all about promoter, this is the fight Dana wanted, the end. If you're going to leave the organization, you're going to leave it fighting this. Okay, I'm in. That is actually a really good answer. I've seen Vince McMahon use that. I've seen that work in WWE. I've seen arenas fill up.
Yep.
But that's not the answer we've been given. That's not the answer we're ever going to be given. Is it a potential number one contenders fight for Chimaev? Because if it's not, it has now slowed Chimaev down. It doesn't speed him up. It doesn't ramp him up. This is a main event in the Mecca. There's something's got to be on.
Nate Diaz, he's getting a title shot.
And right now, I'm still left with what? I don't know why they're fighting. They're fighting. I will watch them fight. Everybody seems to get what they want. This is the match the promoter wanted. Chimaev needs some shine. Nothing like getting it in the media capital of the world, New York City. Diaz needs a match so he can go. Everybody's getting what they want, which is generally what a good negotiation is about. Everybody's getting what they want, but me. I don't know why we're fighting.
We're fighting, Chael. So Nate Diaz can derail the hype train on his way out the door, and so Chimaev can wreck any chance of Nate Diaz making the UFC look stupid if he leaves. That's what they want. Hope y'all enjoyed it. That's what I think.